Rock 100.5 KATT. I am Cameron Buchholtz here from Will from Collective Soul. What's going on, man?
Hey man, doing good. How are you?
Doing well, man. Just looking forward to the big rock show at Riverwind tonight.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got a rock show tonight. I know. No, we're here, man. That's where I'm at right now.
Indeed, dude. And you guys have played at that venue, I think, a number of times.
I think at least three times. Yeah, yeah,
Nice. Is it pretty standard for, the casino gigs? I assume they're all relatively the same, right?
yeah. They're relatively the same. They're real simple to add. So when we get like a nice gig that we can hub around, like the Texas State Fair is tomorrow night, then we basically just we're able to call the promoters ourselves and be like, hey, can we play your place?
Hmm.
That's pretty much that easy. And then it makes it worth our weekend by the time we get all the crew out here and all the buses and semis and stuff. If we can run two together, then it makes it way better.
Gotcha, man. Gotcha. And now you guys you're not doing a ton right now. It looks like kind of what you were talking about, the weekend flyout stuff.
Yeah,
But the main thing, I guess, going on in the world of Collective Soul is the documentary that came out a few months ago. Give me a word.
yeah, yeah. We're really proud of that. It was a solid 4 years in the making. You don't really start out as young guys in the industry thinking, let's organize everything we do and make sure we're ready to do a documentary 30 years later. But we thought it turned out great. I tell everybody that it's a little more than just a history lesson, because you start out with us recording in Elvis's Palm Springs estate,
Hmm.
uh, current day, and then it kind of rewinds, and all of a sudden you're back to these kids that grew up in a tiny town in Georgia.
Indeed, yeah. The Elvis house is kind of the structure that everything is built around.
Yeah.
And how did that initially come about that you guys decided to record there? Because I know it was mentioned in the doc that like no one had recorded there since Elvis, but how did that first get on your radar? Was it like just on Airbnb? Like how did that work?
Yeah, no, I mean that actually be a good explanation. It was through a friend of a friend, and no one had lived there, and it was a bit of a time capsule. But we found out through a friend of a friend that someone had bought Elvis's house, and basically it was in foreclosure. Its Palm Springs was down. It was probably the era around 2008 to 2011, somewhere in that era where real estate was really, really low and down, and nobody cared about it, man. It was just a relic sitting there that nobody really cared about. And a friend of ours purchased it. We didn't really know him then, but he's a friend of a friend. And then, yeah, we found out probably right after COVID, we found out that we were close to somebody who had Elvis's Palm Springs house, and it was just like Elvis had left it, which was the good and the bad. It was really all good because it was a time capsule. You could sense Elvis. Actually, you could feel that Elvis had lived there. You kind of got the essence. Nothing had been touched, but some of it was run down.
Hmm.
Some of the bathrooms didn't work.
Did you guys just record there or did you stay there as well?
We spent the night there in some of the rooms, and we also had another house that was actually Burt Lancaster's old home in Palm
Okay.
Springs. So we were just doing it up with all the old ones, classic vintage homes and stuff. And that's kind of what Palm Springs is about anyway. Has that whole mid-century modern vibe and a lifestyle that was out there. Frank Sinatra started out with Bob Hope. But man, we had a blast there. It's just a really cool community. Within a couple weeks, everybody knew Collective Soul was in town recording a record because we hang in
Yeah,
groups. And
sure.
yeah, when you got like three or four of us together, everybody's like,
What
"What
are all the
band is
yeah,
that?"
what are all these dudes with southern accents doing here?
Yeah, they usually go right to "Are y'all a band?" Or if somebody's really feeling good about their intuition, they're like, "What band are y'all?"
Mm. Now, have you guys ever recorded a record kind of at a destination like that before, or kind of a not standard studio situation?
Definitely, definitely, man. In today's world, we just bring some gear in. The record that's going to come out early next year, we recorded in a house in the mountains in North Georgia. Yeah, man. I mean, we want to create a good vibe. We want the sounds to be good. But with today's technology, it's a lot of hard drives, and
Hmm.
you still need somebody to drive a truck across country and unload it for us at the house, and then drive it all the way back to Atlanta. But but the true recording gear is pretty simple as far as
Yeah.
what we can do. Yeah.
And now and back to the actual filming of the documentary. Who kind of had a lot of that footage and stuff? I mean, was there somebody digging through a garage or somebody's mom or, where did that stuff kind of come from? And who in the
The
band was kind of the
archive,
keeper of it? Yeah.
the archival stuff. Yeah, our lighting guy David Butler had a lot of stuff. I had a lot of stuff, and then sometimes it's just literally scraping the internet and going to websites where photographers have their stuff up that they've done over their career, or literally going to Entertainment Tonight and saying, "Hey, we need that footage from the Entertainment Tonight uh, interview."
Hmm.
Atlantic Records was a tiny bit of help, but once the record labels kind of morphed, a lot of their detail as far as what they were storing and stuff
Hmm.
is just gone. Nobody took the time to really recatalog any of that stuff and hold on to it because, you know,
Sure. And I'd imagine there's literally zero employees at the record label from when you guys were on it.
when we were on Atlantic, there was three complete stories on the Time Warner building
Hmm.
for that were Atlantic Records, and last I heard, they're down to half of one story.
I'm surprised it's even that. So,
They're still a functioning label,
sure.
yeah.
No, yeah,
New
absolutely.
York.
Absolutely.
They got a little space, but no, they used to be three entire levels. Yeah.
But now, and the documentary goes into this, but you guys have been independent for over 20 years at this point. So it hasn't
Yeah.
really been a concern. So in that 20 years, you guys were the ones that sort of had to be keeping everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not good either.
But now,
uh,
when you're
yeah.
actually sitting down to do, the interview for that sort of project, obviously, you're being interviewed right now, you're relatively used to it. But I'd imagine that was a little bit of a different beast and maybe a little bit more intimate and a little bit more in depth. Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah. Obviously the film crew was more involved. And, we were a little worried a little bit more about wardrobe and such. But yeah, we just took our time. We did lots of interviews, so we would have lots of options, so we
Hmm.
didn't put a lot of pressure on each interview. And then we'd also have time to think about what we talked about in the interview and then go tell Joe, the director, hey, next segment we do with me, make sure you ask me about this or this. So it was pretty laid back, other than us, other than waiting for the right amount of smoke to go across the screen to catch light or whatever. It's pretty simple for us to talk about it and be relaxed.
And now how hands-on were you in kind of the creation of it? Was it a situation where you just sort of did the interviews and gave the footage and let the director do his thing, or were you guys kind of in there in the editing room and going through the whole process?
Yeah, definitely not in the editing room. And after we saw the first cut, we definitely had opinions, things we changed and things we added. And we had talked to Joe a lot about what our ideas were, but definitely not. I don't think it's a good idea to get in there in the editing room with a director like that. So he was great. He was really good during capturing the footage by being a fly on the wall, and then even the first cut we saw, we were like, wow, this is going to be good. We were really pleased with even just the first draft.
Nice, nice. So now it does sort of document the recording of Here to Eternity, which is the record you guys put out last year. But it sounds like you just said you guys are already ready for another one.
Yeah, we went in, which, like I said, to a mountain home in North Georgia and recorded another record last fall.
Okay. So it's been
Again,
sitting for a while then.
I don't know if it's sitting.
Yeah.
If we track, they're still mixing. They're still all, and we take our time. We might have tracked 85% of it, and then still needed a little bit of touch ups, and then over the rest of the year, we finish up mixing and everything else. And then
Gotcha.
even if you got a scheduled release, you need to have it totally packaged and done. Really, really 6 months before, if you're going to try to have a real ramped up release with the right marketing and stuff behind it.
Yeah, I mean, even just the vinyl pressing plants are crazy weights and stuff a lot of times. So,
Right. Right.
and now, I mean, that's what I saw kind of on your schedule. You guys are kind of doing some flyouts right now, and then some Vegas shows early next year, and then sort of nothing. So I guess that explains it. That'll probably be the ramp up for the new record.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. And well, dude, just great for the time and great for taking the time. And always looking forward to see you guys. You always put on a hell of a show. And I think tickets are still available, riverwindcasino.com. And
Yeah,
we'll
man.
just see you tonight at the Big Rock Show.
Let's fill it up, man. Appreciate it.